Welcome back to the Mina Show featuring Lenny, Monday Night Football Recap Edition. Lenny's not here because I'm in Bristol, Connecticut. Dominique Foxworth is here. We're going to talk about a very telling and meaningful Monday night game. The news just came across that the Giants are switching to Jaxson Dart at quarterback. We always do winners and woofs in the second half. One of my woofs is Russell Wilson, so we'll get to talk about Jaxson Dart and that decision in the second half. So if you're interested and you're a Giants fan, you want to hear what we think, we will get to that. But we're going to start with Monday Night Football. Dominique, physical domination. Story of the game. Let's start from the Lions' perspective, because the first week of the season, everyone was panicking. The Lions get their butts kicked by Green Bay. Is this the same Lions team? Is the brain drain hitting them? Is the interior of the offensive line going to be a problem? Is the scheme? Did Ben Johnson take all the good plays? They were a wagon on offense last night. What impressed you the most about the defense? Was actually quietly a little more impressive to me.
Agreed.
Okay, screw it. Yeah. Let's talk about the defense then.
Yeah,
that was more surprising. I thought that the Lions' offense, particularly the run game, would roll Baltimore, and that's what happened. I did not think the defense would have as many successful stops as they did, and I thought, we talk about the brain drain. Kelvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator, coached the hell out of that defense against this quarterback, Lamar. It's a very specific game plan required.
So I remember after week one listening to him talk and being like, I see why he's a Dan Campbell guy. Because he was just basically like emotional and direct, no excuses. We gonna get this fixed, essentially was his reaction. And I was like, okay. Not that I thought that it was that attitude itself would make for a good performance, but I just remember that. And then you combine that attitude with a well-coached team that's able to be flexible. And I thought that's what surprised me the most in watching this game was how much zone they played and how well they played it, considering that the prior week they had a couple times where they played zone and just seemed like the flat defender had no idea what they were supposed to do in certain situations. So that was why, and I was dead wrong about this game. That was why I was coming in its games like they're either going to play man, which they can't survive like that against Lamar and this team, or they're going to play zone, which they don't play enough to be good at. But they did a good job, and the drops weren't perfect, and the coverage wasn't perfect, but the disguises and there were some coverages that were just kind of uncertain. And the last thing that I would say about this was, far be it for me to say that Lamar needs more help, because that's not what I'm trying to say at all. But I am saying that this is a reminder of how it feels when you have a guy that requires extra attention as far as receiver is concerned. Because there were a couple of coverages out there where they had 2 and 3 guys with eyes on Lamar while playing man elsewhere. And you can't do that if you got a true number one of those guys, which is fine. Not everyone can have one, but I just was thinking about that in the situation.
Zay Flowers was really quiet in this game, and he normally would be the guy that I'm looking at, especially versus man coverage. There was a couple things that bothered me about the game plan, but that was one of them. I felt like, he had, I don't know why they didn't want to throw to him when it was like, the Lions did not put Terrion Arnold on him the entire game. Arnold was on Bateman or other players, Hopkins at some point, and he gave up a CPI to Hopkins, right? But I felt they should have found a way to get Zay Flowers going and not on deep throws, like intermediate and short stuff, and give him the opportunity to work after the catch. But to go back to the Lions for a second before we get to Baltimore and some of their flaws on offense and very glaring ones on defense, I just couldn't believe you talked about how all the zone that they played. So in this game, this is a defense that has historically played a lot of man and blitzed, and they obviously really wanted to play coverage in this, while, as you said, also making sure somebody had eyes on Lamar. That's a really hard thing to do from just like a sheer math perspective. But going back and watching some of the reps where Lamar is patting the football, because he's dancing around back there trying to make something happen. This was not, to me, about the Ravens' offensive line getting dominated at all.
The seven sacks were like, they were covered sacks.
It took like 4 seconds, The time to pressure was very, and it was not about the pass rush. It was about the disciplined play of the defensive line and the linebackers, and some of the even the sacks, not just the sacks, but is incompletions or those moments where I felt like you're watching him thinking, "Is anyone open downfield?" Because
Yeah.
it's the TV copy and you can't see. No one really is open.
Mhm.
I was really interested, Dominique, in like the way they use the different linebackers. The final sack of the game, not final. I think maybe it was the final sack. It was the beginning of the
Yeah.
fourth quarter. They're down by a score. They're getting into the red zone. I'm thinking they're going to score. This thing's going bananas. So it gets into 3rd and 13, which again, it's Lamar Jackson. If you just get it to 4th
Right.
and manageable, whatever.
Yeah.
They show an all-out blitz. They're playing like a quarters
Yep.
look behind it. And
Mhm.
then Anzalone and Campbell both drop off of the defensive line, but they like took different depths in a way. So one of them, I think it was Campbell, takes away all of the throwing windows over the middle of the field. There's no Lamar can't throw that ball. And then the other one's right underneath him, and he's got eyes on Lamar. And then Lamar ultimately steps up into a sack because no
Yep.
one's open. I'm watching that thinking like, damn, they look really well coached right now. Like
Yeah.
they had such a very I thought well executed plan to limit him as a runner without sending they did blitz a lot,
Yeah.
but
Right.
without leaning on it too much. And it was just top to bottom
That's
a very impressive performance defensively to me.
We could do the whole show on this. And there were also times where they would show the blitz look and the Ravens would keep in extra protectors in
And
order
that play they
yeah.
did. They kept
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
so there's nobody
Right.
open. There's like 3
And so
guys and
it's
like
3 guys
people in
running
coverage. Yeah,
routes against against
yeah.
7 guys in coverage. And it's like and then Lamar starts to step up. And this is one of the things that uh where you can't have the best of all worlds. Where it's like I see Lamar stepping up in the pocket to throw. And it also feels like if you just say F it and tuck it
Yeah.
and go and like hit,
Okay.
it would
Yeah.
be a different result. So it's like I feel silly being critical of Lamar for that because like he also has scored so many touchdowns where he's looking to throw in that situation because people are so afraid of him.
I mean, and I don't want to talk out both sides of my mouth because he makes these unbelievable
Yeah.
explosive throws. I mean, the touchdown to Andrews,
Oh,
God,
so accurate.
ridiculous throw. But when I have been critical of Lamar in the past, when I have felt like he didn't lose this game, he's not the reason why they
Yeah.
lost. There are many the other glaring reasons. There have been times over the course of his career when I felt like he's hunting explosives or he is
Right.
unwilling or as a runner, he's taking too long. I'm watching him. I even when they had linebacker, I get it. They had a plan for him. I did feel Dominique like if he was more decisive about
Yeah.
scrambling on some of these runs, he would have been able to pick it up. And yeah, like this is a thing. There have been games where I've watched him. I'm thinking like, dude, you don't have to just
Right.
take over
But
this game with your legs.
I know I think I'm doing this mostly for the viewers and listeners, which I guess that's who we're doing this all for anyway. But I don't want it to seem like I'm explaining something to you that you obviously know is that is predetermined. Like and it's you can't have both worlds. Like you can't be all right, nothing's here, go. And also be able to find someone running free. So like I get why he does this, but I also feel like there's a time in the game where you think, all right, well, I don't know, get on my back and I'm just gonna take it over. And I think we should get back to how impressed the Lions were and not be, at least for me, like that's fair criticism of Lamar, but ultimately, like it felt like the Lions were just really well. And there were also situations where Aiden Hutchinson was just special, which like you always need that also where there was like an
Yeah.
overload and then they backed out and only rushed 4. And I think this actually was one of the later sacks also where Aiden just beat the slide. They slid to him and he beat it and sacked Lamar from the back. And it's just and then he punched out the ball on
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Like those are just plays you can't. That's just
As
special player.
it's when it happens to Henry because it happened in the other game, our mind just goes to immediately to blaming Henry, and
Yeah.
he absolutely, obviously, like he's, ball security is clearly an issue for him right now. But it was an incredible play
Yeah.
by Aiden Hutchinson. You have to give him credit for that. Yeah, I mean, I thought this was going to be a shootout, and it really wasn't. The score at the end is misleading, even. And to me, it came down to the play of the Lions front and the game plan put together by Kelvin Shepard. Really impressive on that side of the ball. Yeah, and just to kind of put a bow on the Ravens offense, like, look, again, this is not, I think I posted this, like, they're not high on the list of things that I'm worried about with the Baltimore Ravens right now. The other side of the ball is where there's major concerns. They'll get this fixed. It's just frustrating. I mean, in the red zone, I mean, the one thing I will say, I don't think this offensive line is bad. I think there's some issues. I do not think that they were bad in this game, but they really miss Patrick Ricard running the
Mhm.
football, and the run game in general is very boom or bust at the moment in a way that feels like you have Lamar Jackson back there. It shouldn't be this hard for them to run the ball. So,
Agreed. And I mean, and also point out that like it felt like the Lions approached this like a playoff game, like they had a point to prove. I say
yeah.
that not only because of the intensity of the game and the Ravens kind of dominated them last year, and they had that rough start against the Packers, where that was like the only other good team that they played so far. I think a lot of that was on it, but like in the way that they prepared for this game, I recognize and I think I'm trying to get a new term off the ground. Maybe you let me know if it's good or not. They had you're already hated. I know how you do. You're hated. So I don't know. You're making the face that you're gonna judge it. But okay, I want you to judge it. I believe that they had these special plays for special situations, which I have dubbed pocket plays. Plays that they keep in their pocket for the right
Mm.
situation. And I noticed that when they got to the situation, that's like a playoff thing. It was both defensively and offensively, or it's like it's a play that I haven't really seen you guys run. And on that, those 4th and 1 situations where they did that play action pass down the sideline, I was like, oh, you guys been sitting on that. There was another short yardage. Oh, the option play. It's like, all right, you obviously had this in your pocket for a 4th down in the red zone. And it's just funny to watch that happen. And then that zone you were talking about, they did a bunch of other plays that were similar to that, but that specific one, they didn't break out until the end of the game. And they had those plays in their pocket, which is something you kind of do. I noticed that the Chiefs do that a bunch. Spagnolo does that
Mhm.
all the time, where it's like, we've been running these blitzes all game or this coverage all game. And then it's a 4th quarter, it's a key 3rd down. Y'all ain't seen this one yet. And it
Yeah.
gets home and blows you up. But it was the Ravens ain't had none of those.
The only one that I felt like watching the Ravens was the touchdown. I think it was the touchdown after they got stuffed 4 times at the goal line. Then they drove the length of the field very quickly, and it was like that little, like, hold on, I wrote down exactly because I was like, "Ooh, this is cool." When they did it, it was actually like a impressive mo It was right before the second half, where they had like the boot action going to the right,
Oh yeah, and he
and then
threw yeah, the touchdown.
Lamar went to the left and had wait it was like Flowers
Bateman.
and Bateman on the left side. Flowers kinda runs little a little post, and then Bateman does the whip route. That one, I was like,
Yeah.
Where was this, like, last time?" Yeah, I okay, one more thing. The Henry fumble thing, I think, will get fixed. It does feel, though, to me like they should start mixing in the other backs more.
Mhm.
Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill. It's so much Derrick Henry. Just gonna put that out there. I'm not saying he's washed, I'm not saying it's
No.
over, but, like, it's a long season.
Yeah.
You got a lot of juice with these other backs. Maybe mix it up a little, that's all.
Yeah.
So,
Can't
th
disagree with that.
okay, on the other side of the ball, I mean, it was just kicking. So much to talk about the Lions, but you gotta start with the run game. I think what I loved the most about the way the Lions ran the football in this one, Dominique, was, and this is again a test for the John Morton, the offensive coordinator, for Dan
Mhm.
Campbell. We talked about it all off season. Not just like it's not just about hitting copy paste on the offense from last year. It's about in-game adjustments and knowing who you're playing and putting your skill players in position to succeed.
Right.
The Ravens have one of the worst run defenses in football through
Oh,
3 weeks of the season. It was bad going into this game, so it's not they gave up runs against Cleveland, against, Buffalo week 1. Um, so the Lions are primarily an outside zone under center rushing team, but the Ravens can actually stop outside zone.
mm,
They're good moving side to side. The Lions realize, "Oh, cool. We're just going to bully them and
yeah,
run duo and just smash their faces in downhill." It's the reason why David Montgomery, pardon me, was so much more effective in this
yeah,
game than Jahmyr Gibbs, because
Gibbs.
that's what they do with Montgomery. And on duo runs, they ran way more duo in this game than they have all year. They averaged 7.6 yards per carry. They got 12 personnel, which the Ravens matched with nickel, and they just punched them in the face over and over and over. And there's the Ravens side of that, which we can get to.
Yeah.
But I love that the Lions have a run game that can change based on who they're playing, and they have different backs who can do different things. I thought that was really on display in this.
It was also on display that they were moving the Ravens line
Woo.
backwards, and that is never good. So ultimately, if you can do that, there's no reason to do anything else. It's like you start with, if we can run it right up the middle, then there's little chance for anything to go wrong. There's less of a chance for a tackle for a loss, and we certainly don't even have to pass it. And everything comes off of that. That's like why we talk about how the spine of the defense is so important. It's like you want to force people wide, especially if you're the Ravens and you got speed at linebacker and your secondary is probably the strongest unit that you
Yeah.
have. It's like, yeah, we want to force you to throw the ball, or if you're going to run it, we want to force you to run lateral. And they, at no point in that game, I assume they were trying different things, but nothing actually looked any different. So that's the scary part, because I think it's fair to say the Ravens were bad at defense early in the season last year too, and they fixed it and were great by the end of the year. But the issue with the defense last year was giving up big plays through the air,
Yeah.
and it was like blown coverages. It was like, let's focus on not making mistakes. I don't know how you solve getting pushed off the ball. I guess there aren't a ton of, they're going to play the Rams soon. That'll be a test for them. But there aren't a ton of teams
Great
that can
duo
really,
team by the
yeah,
Rams are a great. The funny thing is next week they got the Chiefs, which is
yeah.
like coughing baby versus coughing baby. Like you've seen the hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Like I don't know, like that.
That's
like like ooh, can the Chiefs actually get downhill and run the ball on them, because they can't versus anyone else? Like it's a get right game for somebody. But yeah, like the plan is out there, right? Like this is what you
right.
do on this Ravens team. You run downhill.
I would think so, and I know that Metabike wasn't there and Van Noy wasn't there, but like it didn't. The way that they were running the ball, it didn't feel like, it felt kind of unacceptable for an NFL team, no matter who's starting, to all the way through the game. They had two drives. I think this is they had two drives of over 95 yards. I don't think that the Ravens had a drive in the history of their organization at home. They had one other time that someone has driven 95 yards for a touchdown. And these are like clutch situations that they need, especially at the end. They need to stop them, and Montgomery runs for 70 plus yards on one play. It's like, what are we doing? You got him backed up. It was
Yeah.
ugly.
Do you think that this is a game that can, or a weakness, pardon me, that can be addressed at all schematically, or do you think they need a new, like a defensive tackle basically in there? So as I mentioned, the
Right.
Ravens, they matched the Lions 12 personnel a lot with their nickel defense. Should you like, would it be helpful for, I mean, when you play
Yeah.
base against the Lions, you're exposing yourself in the passing game.
Yeah. I mean, there are a ton of things you can do. One is like you can change what front you're running. It's like you can run a different front, and maybe that will be smarter. Like you can run a front that makes it better for you to stop the duo run, but it compresses your defense and it makes you weaker on the edge, and it decreases your ability to rush the passer if there's play action or something. But they don't rush the passer all that well either. But as you know, anytime you are looking to fix a problem by assigning more resources to it or more attention, you're making yourself weak somewhere else. You need to, if they want to be good on defense, they're going to need to be able to stop these runs without compromising the rest of their team. So I absolutely think that they could add more people, and or they could sign more people, but I don't think that's going to be the answer. You just can't lose at the point of attack as badly as they kept losing.
Yeah, if I'm then I'm looking across the league for
Yeah.
defensive tackle help right now.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens with Madubuike, but even with Madubuike, really quick, Jared Goff, I thought was exceptional in this game. Just the thing that I wanted to highlight was on that first drive that took, not the first drive, but the drive that took like 10 minutes and then they scored the touchdown. It was like an
Mhm.
absolute gut punch. He was in third and long twice and I think both times to Laporta. I mean, that is notable to me, right? Because that's just the quarterback. He's not benefiting from play action. I thought a lot of his throws to Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, culminating in the final play action pass on fourth down, just incredibly accurate. Yeah, I mean, he's just a super accurate quarterback. Like he's not
Yeah.
perfect, but I mean,
Especially
I
when
think
he's not under
really good.
pressure.
Yeah.
which, like, that's the other problem with the Ravens' defensive front. They
Yeah.
can't get pressure, and I think most quarterbacks can get the best version of them when they're not under pressure. And we know Jared Goff can be top of the league quality
When he's
quarterback
kept clean, yeah.
when he's kept clean, and the Ravens don't have a way to, like, an organic way to get pressure.
Yeah, I'm getting Madubuike and KVN back will
Mhm.
help in that regard, but they really need, like, Mike Green, who they drafted this
Yeah.
year, needs to step up and be impactful rushing the quarterback. It's they're up against it on defense. That was I mean, I had them as a top unit.
Yeah.
It's Jared Alexander's not even playing, like, there's problems. This is I think in sum, with the Ravens, I think the offense will be fine.
Mhm.
I have legitimate concerns about this defense is kind of where I came down. And then with the Lions, week 1 feels very far away. I think the Packers defense, when they rematch, is still gonna give them trouble because I think the Packers defense is just so good. But
Mhm.
it is nice to see, I would say, improvement from specific players, and, like, the interior of the offensive line, Al Muhammad, I think I say his name right? Akeem Muhammad, rushing the quarterback, and then the linebackers were great, and then the coaching on both sides I thought was exceptional in this one.
Yeah. I mean, we had questions about if the run was over for the Lions because of all of the changes after week 1. It's clear that it's not.
I mean, one other thing, tell me if you disagree with this. The contrast between Dan Campbell going for it on 4th down, John Harbaugh not going for it on 4th down against Buffalo just came to mind. I mean, you could argue he should have gone for it on 4th and 9, to be honest. In this one, I kinda
Yeah.
wanted them to, but
Mhm.
that's a little more dicey.
I
It's
mean,
pretty it's pretty
I
it's pretty notable, right?
yeah, you said you can argue it. I don't think there's anything to argue. Like, I mean, Dan Campbell's 4th down aggressiveness was in more manageable situations. But you're right. If
Yes.
you go back to week 1, it's different.
That was
But
a manageable one, yeah.
yeah, particularly when it's been made clear to you through the course of this game and honestly through the course of 3 games
Right.
that you are broken on one side of the ball and
Yes.
your strength is on the other side of the ball. And in that moment, someone's got to say, and I'm not sure, I know he has an analytics guy. I'm not sure what the analytics say about all those situations, but
Go.
someone's got to say,
That was a
like,
go.
it was, yeah. I mean, 4th and 9? No, it was.
Oh, you're talking about Baltimore. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
think
I'm
you
talking.
meant Detroit. Detroit
Oh
was
yeah,
clear.
yeah, yeah. No, no.
The
4th and
Baltimore, I
1,
saw,
just about
NGS had
anywhere
a
is a
as a
go.
toss-up. NGS had a toss-up on 4th and 9.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's like when it's
Yeah.
a toss up in that situation, you have to apply context. And the context
Yes.
is we can't stop them. And our
Oh,
best
yeah.
players are on this side of the ball. We got to go on 4th and 9.
No question in my mind for Campbell, and I mean, it's like, okay, cool, you can punt it to Lamar,
Yeah.
who,
Right.
you gain, like, 30 yards. He still has plenty of time, all the timeouts to drive the field, or you can end the damn game. Of course you
Right.
would. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, salute to Dan Campbell, one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think he was 3rd on our list this year. I definitely leaped him over Harbaugh and looked like it in this game, and that is all I'll say about that. All right, let's come back and talk about Jaxson Dart. All right, we're back. We usually start with a winner, but I'm going to start with a woof because it's so newsy. Russell Wilson was my woof after Sunday Night Football. Maybe one of the saddest red zone possessions in the recent history of this. I mean, that
did it, right?
Yeah, you can't come
That
back from
did it.
that.
When I was watching it, I was thinking, yeah,
That's it.
it's over for you. You're gonna get benched. You can't. I think it's hard to not being in the locker room. Obviously, you have to do a little bit of speculation and conjecture, and I think that it's really hard for guys. And we've had this conversation before. They know they're not going to win the Super Bowl, but they also recognize that their jobs. It's not just the head coach's job that's on the line. Their jobs, everybody on their team, jobs and reputations and careers are on the line. When a quarterback or when a coach gets fired off a bad team, a lot of y'all going to go too. And if your tape looks bad as a result, or not even if your tape looks bad, if you're on a bad team, people are not going to look to you. So, like, I
Yeah.
imagine that in the locker room, people are thinking after that series, like, man, what are you guys doing to me? It's hard to go back into a locker room and expect guys to commit if you watched a possession where it seemed like he just gave up.
Yeah, it was brutal. The whole game was brutal. I mean, he was just chucking up prayers into like too high shells over and over, and just like multiple Chiefs could have intercepted him multiple times. So the other funny thing about that game was I don't know if I've ever heard a crowd so crisply through the audio. Just not just the booing and the "we want darts," but like I was hearing like specific messages. It felt like, so I guess the more interesting discussion is not should they have made the change, which was pretty obvious, inevitable. How do we feel about first Dart coming up against a Jesse Minter coached Chargers defense? So I want to start by saying there's no right time. You're looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
Yes, he has the Saints after that, but after the Saints, you got the Eagles, the Broncos, the Eagles. So it's not there's no right time. That said, Dominique, I wish it wasn't the Chargers. Like I just that's a tricky one for a rookie. That's all. I get it. I'm not objecting to it. I just don't love it.
Yeah, I think that they didn't want to either. Yeah, I think this last game forced their hand. And also, had they been able to pull it out against the Cowboys, I think that would have bought them some more time. Which I know it's kind of ridiculous. Like even if Russ's performance was the same, if they had a win, I think you could buy them a little bit of time. But I don't. I think their hand was forced, particularly because of that last game and that last series in the red zone. So to your point, there's no soft spots. Like it's the NFL. It's going to be tough. I hate that the decision is being made based on how poorly Russ is playing, not how ready Jaxson Dart is. But this has kind of been the track record for this organization, and it doesn't bode well, honestly. Like I'm rooting for Jaxson Dart. I hope he has a great long career, but this ain't a great situation to be dropped into to start your career.
No. And then in the same breath that, not to like straw man here, but that like a lot of the shows will say, we fail these young quarterbacks. They're constantly put in bad situations. And all those same shows are like Dart. So just pointing that out, there's a little bit of hypocrisy.
I'm one of those people.
No, I mean it's tough. It's never easy. I think you just need patience, and development's not linear. I remain confused why Jameis Winston is on this football team, by the way. Like I saw someone say maybe they'll go to Jameis first before Dart. They were never going to do that. So why did they sign? Why have 3 quarterbacks? Maybe they still want to trade him. I don't know. Maybe they're going to try to trade Russ. I don't think his value is going to be very high. Really quick on Dart versus the Chargers. So we've watched this Chargers defense now for 3 weeks. And I think we have a pretty good sense of like what they do and what it takes. You and I talked about what it takes to beat them last week when we talked, I think on your show about the Broncos Chargers game. I think what killed me, Dominique, and you and I talked a little about this, is like the Broncos did a lot of the things you have to do. They had some explosive runs. Sean Payton dialed up shots off of, because the Chargers defense plays very top down, like a lot of quarters coverage. So you can get them with double moves for explosives. Guys are open. Cortland Sutton, Juan, Bo Nix just didn't hit any of those passes. So now looking at this Giants team, it requires, I think, such a you really got to calibrate taking what's given to you. They make you do that. And then in the moments where it's available, you take the shots. So
and hit the shots. I've never been, because I thought Sean Payton did a masterful job of play design, sequencing, and play calling in that game. And it's clear to me that no matter what Sean Payton says publicly, he is interested in managing Bo Nix. He is not going to take the reins off Bo Nix. He has Bo Nix throw a bunch of screens and then take big shots. And it was funny because the shots were not like, normally you'll take a shot on an early down so you can recover. He was taking shots in the most advantageous position. So like 3rd and short, 4th and short. He was like, I gotta get this. Like that's what it felt like to me. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
No, that's a Sean Payton thing too. He loves it. Yeah.
And it's very different because the other version of Sean Payton's success we know is like Drew Brees, which it was the opposite. It was like cut it loose, spread it out, pick the team apart, and just prick all the way down the field. So in this situation, I'm not sure how they're going to do this without effective running game and with an offensive line that's not going to protect all that well. But they're going to be able to get, which we talked about on my show, they're going to be able to get guys open deep. Will Jaxson Dart be able to create the time with his athleticism and hit those passes with accuracy?
He's going to scramble so much in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, Scatabo looked good, run the football. Yeah. So maybe the run game can improve a little bit. He really did look good. I know he's like kind of a meme. He's a good football player. He, I think, adds an extra element to that rushing attack. Jaxson Dart adds an extra element to the rushing attack. Obviously, with they brought him in for like the 2 status zone reads. I can't even. Godspeed, young man. I have him on my dynasty team, so I'm rooting for him. Yeah, I know. I have the world's saddest quarterback room. Spencer Rattler. I'm holding on to Derek Carr just in case he unretires. It's a 2 quarterback 14 team league. Leave me alone. All right, let's do the winners now, and then we'll end with your Woof. Okay, I'll go first. AJ Brown. Pretty good. It's funny when football, like, we're like, we're a run duo against nickel personnel. And then sometimes it's like, hey, throw to your best player. Cool.
Yeah. I jokingly, but I don't mean it insultingly, talk about the Eagles as like a high school team and that we got the best players in the city. Like, we ain't gonna get cute.
Also, well, not only do you have the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver in the NFL, you're going against the Rams corners.
Yeah.
Did you see Darius Williams on the touchdown to AJ Brown fly backwards like a bomb went off? That was one of the funniest things. Emmanuel Forbes is like 1/3 of an AJ Brown. Why in God's name were you not just throwing at them mercilessly? I do not understand. Like, it was my Eagles fan in-laws were, I swear to God, about to, I don't want to get anyone in criminal trouble, but the things they were texting about Kevin Patullo, it was inexplicable. And and then they figured out in the second half, it's like, all right, the biggest talent advantage we have in this is our receivers versus their corners.
And it's not only that their receivers are better than their corners. Their one receiver is one of the biggest and strongest receivers in the history of football. And the Rams cornerback room is one of the smallest in the league. And it's just like the matchup. And, Charlie on my show is a Commanders fan, so he knows Emmanuel Forbes quite well. He reminded me that they drafted him before Christian Gonzalez, and I shed a little tear for him. But he talked about how Emmanuel Forbes would go up against AJ Brown, and
he got benched.
Yeah, and that's what got they know this. They did it to him. So why, when they go in this game, they're like, let's let him live. We like old Manny Forbes over there. Let's let him live. Oh, we're in trouble? No more. Let's throw it over there. And he just like shrugged him off. It's like
he shrugged it when there was like a comeback where he literally just like threw him to the ground.
It was bad. I don't laugh at my cornerback brethren like that. You stop it. Oh.
I think I said at your show I wanted him and Devontae to switch jerseys because they're like the only 2 players in the Tutu Atwell is also on the Rams, so that's the 3 of them are. I mean, it's not even like AJ Brown he's like a real life like superhero. I mean, it's crazy. Like he looks like different out there,
and he plays nasty.
Nasty. The other thing you saw though is like, oh right, when you throw to him, they get worried about him and everyone else gets open, right? You come out third quarter after like truly one of the worst halves of offensive football I've ever seen from this team, by the way. Yeah. They hit the sluggo, right? For the big play to AJ Brown. Oh, wow, that worked. Shocking. Next rep, literally a play later, the Rams are in like some sort of cover 2. So the safety's helping. Oh, cool. Yep. Dallas Goedert, wide ass open up the seam. Why is he wide open up the seam? Because you made them afraid of AJ Brown. When they got into the red zone, they hit the fade to him that we talked about where Darius Williams was blown back. Next time they get to the red zone, put AJ Brown opposite Devontae Smith. Half of the Rams defense goes over there. You get a 1-on-1 for Devontae Smith on the whip route at the goal line. It's not rocket science. Make them fear your best, biggest player. Anyways, he's awesome. I don't mean this has come across as more complaining about Kevin Patullo. Yeah. You don't get credit for waiting a whole half to figure this out, bro.
I think also like what I realized was the Eagles fans, to your point, Eagles fans feel this also.
Yeah.
And I think many of them will publicly be defensive of their team, but in their hearts, they're like, we could do this better. And so I had this argument with Jeff Saturday on Get Up this morning because Jeff is a run the ball, low risk guy, which like I am too. However, where I got him to capitulate was when I talked about explosive plays. And Jeff loves explosive plays. He knows how important they are. And the point is, last year they were getting them by
Yeah.
running the ball.
They're not this year.
Yeah, you have to find a way to get them. And yeah, you're not going to be able to block 2 field goals every week, guys.
Yeah.
And I think they know that. Maybe this will be the impetus. This will give them the impetus to start throwing AJ Brown. It ain't that hard. Like, we're not
that hard. That's what I'm saying. This is like
something special.
This is one of those scenarios where like the dumb guys, like the football take is the correct one, which is throw to your human. Like you have a monster on your team. Yeah. He's so good. Yeah. I mean, and like Hurts hit all those throws in the second half. He can make that's the thing with like Jalen Hurts. You don't have to baby him. He can make all the throws, right? Like it's just frustrating to watch. But hopefully this is a catalyst. They have the Bucs this week. So that's going to be, the Bucs have a really good run defense. Mm-hmm. So that's and I don't think the Bucs, like most teams, don't have anyone who matches up well with AJ Brown. Okay, your winner is a fun one. Isaiah Rodgers.
Isaiah Rodgers, the cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings, had quite possibly the best game a cornerback has ever had in history. Like, I computed the expected points added for his plays, and he had almost 20 of expected. Like, that's like a quarterback's like higher. It's like a quarterback's level of impact on a game. It's just unheard of because, like, if you don't know this by now, he scored 2 touchdowns in the first half, caused a fumble and scooped the fumble and scored on the fumble, had an interception return for a fumble, caused another fumble, and broke up a pass in the end zone. Like, his impact on that game was unbelievable. And I saw him talking about his Madden rating. Raise it immediately. It's like in the 70s. Get that man to the 80s ASAP. It's crazy. But yeah, so there should be credit for the whole team. They all played really well, and Carson Wentz didn't need much. Like, they talk about taking pressure off a quarterback. Like, Carson Wentz didn't need to do much. He played well also. But there should be a little extra attention added to the man who created 3 turnovers and scored 2 touchdowns from the cornerback spot.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game for all the reasons that you described. Historic. It was a historic game, and it is the biggest reason why they won. They were efficient. Jordan Mason was really good running the football, but this was about the defense. And I think just the only thing I'll kind of say on this, well, actually, I have to do one question for you, but about the other side of the ball. I was very worried about this Vikings cornerback room headed into the season. Speaking of small guys, Rodgers, he's not that big. Yeah. And I still think like really good offenses could, like, if they're to go up against, Philadelphia, I'm not betting on Murphy and Rodgers and company, but the Vikings now have like such a track record of identifying free agents who are like a really good fit for Brian Flores' defense. I think he seems, just judging by like the way he talked about Rodgers this offseason, very involved in that scouting process. And I mean, now, like, just looking at their depth chart, it's interesting because they haven't drafted great on defense, but every like free agent signing has been a hit, and it looks like another one with Rodgers. So credit to that, what they've done, their pro scouting, I guess, or however that's worked out, because it's really paid off.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the getting pressure is going to help out your cornerbacks, but another thing that they do is, and we talk about ad nauseum, is create confusion and hesitation in the quarterback. And that's one of the benefits of the Eagles, is like there's no confusion and hesitation because their offense is pretty obvious and straightforward and simple. But sometimes that means the blitzes will get home, but there won't be any hesitation or confusion for Jalen Hurts for where he should go with the ball. So they'll get there when they get there. But I do think that that's a part of the reason why it's not just getting the guys that can play well in the system. I think that they have a system that helps to protect those guys.
Definitely agree. The question that I want to ask is, keep rolling with Wentz?
I mean, isn't JJ's not back yet, right? Or are they going to pretend that he's not back yet? I mean, don't rush him back for sure.
Yeah, the quotes are very you could definitely close read some of the quotes around it. I mean, it was very glaring in this game what a difference it is with a veteran quarterback
Yeah.
who's just throwing the ball quickly. Like Carson Wentz didn't do anything special in this game,
Mm.
but he threw that ball real quick. He had like a 2.4 time to throw. JJ McCarthy this season has been 3.15, which is either the longest or close to it in football. Most of Wentz's throws were to his first read, and the offense worked. I also really love what I've mentioned Jordan Mason. Granted, the Bengals defense is the Bengals defense, but I think he's a really good back and elevates this rushing attack. But yeah, they're in a little bit of a dicey spot. Quarterback position, a little dicey.
Uh,
Um,
could be worse.
Speaking of quarterbacks, your final woof. Jordan Love.
There it is. My final wolf is Jordan
Jordan,
Love.
run!
Yeah, it
Was
was.
that one of his linemen or was it one of the Browns? It wasn't clear to me based on the audio.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. Oh no, I think it was Miles Garrett. Was
He
I
said
think
it himself?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I know that he was yelling at him to throw the ball at a certain point. Like there was a play when he was unblocked. I think. Well, either way, it doesn't matter. Jordan Love had a rough outing, but I mean, to be fair, I think we talked about this on text. They were getting destroyed up front. Like I watched all those passes multiple times. If it wasn't a screen, there was a Brown in his lap. It was insane.
The Browns pass rush, you could make a winner here, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're gonna
Right.
they're gonna win ugly games because they're dominant up front. I mean, that rep from there's like a inside move. Is that the Jordan Love
Yeah,
run?
yeah, yeah.
So David and I on Viewer Discretion, my TV pod, have been recapping
I love
Alien.
Task, by the way. Thank you for bringing that to my life. I'm telling all my friends to watch it.
We're keep recapping Task. We're wrapping up Alien Earth this week.
Mm-hmm.
You don't watch the show.
No.
He looks like a xenomorph, which is the monster alien. Like no one that large
Yeah.
should move like that. I don't even know what to say.
I don't watch the show, but I do know the like alien history, and I have seen those, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's talk about players who have had careers wasted. Like I imagine if he was on a team that was a perennial competitor, we'd be talking about him in the way that we talk about some all-time greats. Because yeah, like Aaron Donald. Yeah, we don't talk about Myles Garrett like that, but he plays like that. It's because he's never around in January, and that's when we kind of cement the memories about these players.
He took the bag. That's on him. But
Yeah.
I mean, watching the Browns though, like I won't say they're a quarterback away, but they're a quarterback away from being feisty.
Yeah.
They really are. This rookie class looks tremendous. Like they're getting. I mean, Mason Graham was so good in this game. Carson Schwessinger, Harold Fannin Jr. So Quentin Sean Judkins ran the ball. So like, yeah, they really do feel like they're in position for a quarterback. All right, that's the Browns. Let's focus on the Packers for a second. Here's what concerns me about the Packers. Jordan Love made a boneheaded mistake, although that was tricky.
I loved it. It was gorgeous.
Can you break down what happened on the
So it looked like the pre-snap disguise. They gave them like a zero look, and
which
me,
the Browns love doing. So you're thinking we're getting zero. They're gonna play man. Okay.
They're gonna play man. I need to get rid of the ball quickly, and if my receiver can win inside, then we might have a big play, a touchdown, put this game away. So they rotate from that to having the opposite side slot corner go deep, and someone else drop out to take away the hole, which allowed Grant Delpit, who was covering the slot receiver, to slough off into the passing lane and pick off the interception, all while Myles Garrett is is in your mind. Like I get it. Like you would rather him do anything, but like even get sacked be better than throwing that turnover right there. But I understand how you would get confused because it looks like you win. And then it seems like he tries to like pull the ball because he sees it happening, and Grant gets to it anyway.
LaFleur was interesting on this after the game because he took a lot of blame for because it's a quick concept, right?
Yeah.
Falls out. And LaFleur said he said we figured that we get man coverage. But, when teams are playing man-free, they'll pass off an inside breaking route and fall into the next window. So it's a bad play call on my part, which I thought was interesting from him. That's not what concerns me in this one. Jordan Love had been protecting the football really well. What concerns me is something that's quietly been a problem for the Packers all season. They can't run the ball. And so I was looking in, digging into numbers, trying to figure out how much of it is Jacobs. So it's kind of everything right now. I mean, they're 26th in yards before contact, 28th in run block win. They've had backups on the offensive line. Zach Tom tried to come into this game and went out immediately. But then they're also 30th in rushing yards over expected. So they're not blocking well, but then the backs are not making it better at all. Jacobs in particular.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Because we think of them as being a good running team, but it's been a real problem for them early on.
Yeah, I think I'd be willing to overlook it if it were just this game,
right?
Because they were so good up front. But in Graham, I'm trying not to turn this back into just a Browns love fest, but he was awesome too. But that's the problem. Is it's been, I guess there's some, that they have the ability to do it, they just haven't done it yet. Would be I guess you don't know with this group, right? I don't know. It's a huge concern. I think in this game in general, it's hard to take anything from it just because they were just whipped so handily up front in every way. So I don't know. Feels like you don't want to throw any game away altogether, but I'm not ready to bail. I mean, not to suggest that you are, but I think they'll be able to figure out this running attack as long as they don't play the Browns ever again.
I have good news. Get the Cowboys next week.
Oh.
The get right defense, the slump buster, the village bicycle of the NFL right now. That's not good. We need a good slump buster.
I think slump buster is about as good as you can get. I mean, I think everyone gets the innuendo, and it's not too obvious.
So they should be able to run the ball well. Yeah, the Browns defense is just so legit and bounce back in a big way, because remember they were really great, then they had a bunch of injuries last year, and now they're really great again. But a lot of that also has to do with the draft picks. I mean, Garrett just getting actually help on the inside is different. Get guys who are taking advantage of all the attention paid to him. Something to monitor. We'll see what they end up doing at the quarterback. Maybe they'll trade for Jameis, bring back Jameis.
Oh gosh, he's a good time.
Also, Mason Graham at 5. They took a lot of heat for that, for trading down for the Travis Hunter, and now they have next year's Jags pick and Mason Graham, and that's looking pretty good early on. So
they're one of the few front offices that have ruined the quarterback decision over and over again, but still deserve to keep their job.
Yeah, it's an interesting team, to say the least, but you've got my attention, Browns defense. I'll say that, because, oh, God, the film was ugly for Green Bay. All right, that's it for this week. Dominique, I will be joining you on the Dominique Foxworth Show at the end of your week, and then I'll be back later in the week. I'm in New York, so I'll be taping a Week 4 preview with Kevin Clark live from, that's not live, how do I say that? But
in person?
In person, yeah. All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Wow.